Happy New Year. Hello, dear friends. I hope that everything is well with your lives and starting this new year with good energy and with a list of good purposes. Today, I would like to talk about selection systems and why they are important. Through the years, the process of selection, personal, has become and has changed a lot and has become one of the most important processes of human resources. And the selection system is not just to put into your organization the best talent that you can grab from your society or from your surroundings, but also it's a continuity of how well organized your HR department is, and as a matter of fact, how well organized your company is. So, in order to have a proper selection system, given that it could be psychological tests, a specialized software that you use to select the system, that you have on place a proper interview process, or you have assessment center. So whatever the technique and the technology you use to select personnel, it won't create the desired effect and grab the best talent from the pool, whatever that might be, if your human resources department and also your whole organization is not well organized. Why? Because the selection system is a continuity of the organizational structure of the company. So the first thing that you need to make sure that is working well and it's in proper place is the organizational structure. Why? Because the organizational structure will create and will define what kind of person, what kind of professional you want inside the organization. So if that structure is fuzzy or that structure is not clear for you, for the chain of command of your organization or for employees, as a matter of fact, it doesn't matter how perfect your selection system is, it's going to fail, because you are selecting and you are screening and you are doing all this selection process without the proper connection that this professional you are looking will be fitted or not to your company. So that's the first step. And what organization and properly ordered structure means? Well, it means that your organizational charts are in place, that you have a clear vision of at least, but I recommend the whole thing, but at least the unit in which this person is being needed. This unit has to have a clear organizational structure with very well-defined roles, with very well-defined specific tasks, with very well-defined competencies and all that. And how do we do that? Very simple. Two things. One of the things is to create an organizational chart that it's functional and that it responds to the needs of the organization. And the second thing is to register all these functions in the proper job descriptions. So with these two things in place, then you can move ahead and select the candidate you need. So if you have these two things very well defined, the rest goes by itself. and or almost by itself, because then you know what you're really looking for. Then you know what you really want, and what kind of professional you might want to fill that space. So these selection systems have levels of errors: psych tests, interviews, assessment centers, on the job samples that some organizations use to measure if this person will do well that job sample. So there are many ways in which you can it is not needed for me to go through all of this, because you can really just look in the internet and or hire a consultant. They will explain to you what they do, what those technologies are about. So you don't need me to go into details with all this. But the thing is that if you have this structure in well placed, and the job descriptions very well defined, then from the job descriptions, or for the job description, you can then take out what kind of experience does this person need to fill in those duties. Experience. And experience means what type of jobs this person needed to have been done in the past in order to fill in this position. What knowledge, what empirical knowledge. There's two differences between empirical and experience. For example, empirical knowledge is what you have learned in the past with your past job experience. So that's empirical knowledge is very important, because it's crystallized intelligence. So it's very well important to have the experience that are needed, that is needed to fill in the job description and the many duties that this person will need to do in your organization. And the other one, of course, is the competencies. Competencies are a group of knowledge, also skills and abilities. So a very well done job description will have the objective of the job, will have the details in which what part of the organization this position responds, and also will have all the duties needed, and also will have all the knowledge and competencies and abilities needed to fill in the job. So having all that thing very well organized, then it's very easy to take from that body of content the experience needed, the knowledge needed, the abilities needed, and the competencies needed to fill in the position. So that's the most important thing in the selection process. And this is an extra information that I would like to give you. This job description, it must ingrain very well in the whole structure of the unit, but also it needs to respond to the demands not only of the unit and the overall organization, but also it needs to respond well to the expectations of upper management. So maybe if the position is not that, is a very basic position, and like for example a gardener, probably you don't need to scale up this position and make sure that there is aligning between the expectation of the position and what the organization wants. But if it's a manager, for example, that the story is different. The much higher the responsibility is, the more aligning for the duties, responsibilities, skills, and ability of that position needs to be validated or aligned to the upper management and also to the expectations of the company. So once you have those things in place, once you have all these characteristics in place, then it's very easy to move to the whole selection process, in which you can now, from this information, from the content of the job description, then you can very easily have the questions that you are going to ask the candidate. The technical questions that probably will need to be asked in the process of the interview. So it's very important that one person from HR is present, conducting personality type of questions, general questions about personal characteristics and how this person responds to stress, how this person is being managed in teamwork, how this person manages conflict, how this person manages, for example, working hours, or in how much detail this person works, or what are the things that might get off balance this person. So those type of personality questions are very important. But also it's very important that in the process of the interview, a technical expertise is present about the skills, abilities, and knowledge of past experiences, because the HR analyst or the HR selection chief, or whatever the name is from HR that is taking care of the selection process, this person must be an expert in interpreting psychological tests and making the good questions needed to see if this person fits your organizational culture. So that's HR responsibility. Now, the technical experience and the technical knowledge is the request person, which is, the redundancy, requiring the position, that needs to be present to validate those questions and to make the proper the technical questions about the candidate. Now you put together that information. HR must have a sort of a system or a process in which you can compare the opinions of the persons present in the interview, which candidate seems to be the best fit for the organization. And sometimes you can use forms in which all the people, like 3, 2, make sure that there is no accord in front of the candidate, because that can make people nervous and not giving the best in the interviews. 2, 3 maximum persons could be in the interview process, and make sure that that probably a form in which all the information is verted there and written there, and then you compare the analysis, and then also the input of the psych test to see what kind of behavior style has this person under stress, what kind of leadership this person displays, what is his natural profile, the profile under stress, the profile that it's most this person is most interested to display naturally. So there is a whole bunch of psych tests that can give all this kind of information. So the psychological test is not so much to decide which person fits best the position, but to clarify some things that could be blurry and could be fuzzy in the interview process, or in the whatever the selection process you have chosen to use. So and also intelligence, the level of intelligence, because there are two types of tests in this process. There is the psych test, which measures behavior and personality, some character also. And also there is the intelligence type of test that measure capacity, intelligence capacity, cognitive capacity, specific abilities like verbal intelligence, fluid intelligence, arithmetic intelligence, verbal intelligence, and many of the type of intelligence that conform the general factor of intelligence. Now, intelligence is a strong predictor of performance. So that's something that you need to know. So that is the capacity. It's like the size of the engine of the person, intelligence. So 120 IQ will have more capacity than the 80 points IQ. That's the way it is, So, but that doesn't mean that the person with 120 IQ will do better, because there are many things involved there. Experience, knowledge, creativity, many other things. So if this person it just tells you the capacity, but doesn't tell you how this person is going to use that capacity. But it's information that is very valuable in order to make a proper decision. And selection processes are always have a narrow margin. So the more information you have about the candidate, the more precise and accurate your job descriptions and organizational structures are, the more tests you make, the more a specific process for that purpose of selection you do, the better. And sometimes you have the time against these processes. HR is running up and down trying to get the candidates, and this position is urgent, so you need to fill it in as soon as possible. So unfortunately, if you want to make a good process, you have to be careful, because it's better to spend a little bit more time in the process than the put and allowed a problem to get inside your organization, because that's what you do when you just use your gut feelings to hire someone. You're risking to having someone that is not going to comply with the culture of the organization, and is not going to comply with the requirements of knowledge, skills your position requires. So I hope this information has helped you a lot, and I will be posting more of this type of information and knowledge in this channel of The Organizational Psychologist. So until next time, bye.